where an unusual creature falls in love with a human, and they even have children. The film is set in 1914 during World War I, when people were sent to different islands to gather information about the weather and living conditions. Let's begin. The movie starts where we see a man named Fred aboard a ship traveling somewhere. Fred works for the meteorological department, and he is posted to an island in the South Atlantic. His job is to monitor temperature changes on this island, and he is supposed to stay there for a year. The person who previously worked on this assignment had passed away. Fred is given a year's worth of supplies, and is accompanied by a colleague who takes him to the island. There was a lighthouse on the island, where an elderly man named Gruner also lives. When Fred meets Gruner, he is told that there's nothing on the island and that he should leave, but Fred refuses to go. Fred is given a cabin to stay in, about a kilometer away from the lighthouse where Gruner resides. While settling in, Fred finds the diary of the previous officer. In the diary, there are drawings of strange creatures. One shows a large frog eating a dinosaur, and another depicts a fish resembling a frog. The diary also mentions Darwin is wrong, implying that Darwin's theory was incorrect. As Fred continues reading, he comes across a picture of a woman with love written 3 times beneath it. It turns out this was the previous officer's wife. While Fred is reading the diary, he hears strange noises outside, as if some weird animal is around. Suddenly, the noises surround him, and Fred fears that creatures are about to attack him. He quickly hides under the cabin, but some creatures break down the door and enter. Fred tries to look through a small gap and sees one of the creatures. In a panic, he stabs it with a knife, and soon, all the creatures flee. Fred wasn't able to see the creature clearly. Terrified, he stays hidden for the rest of the night. The next morning, Fred emerges from the cabin and finds blood inside, along with strange footprints outside that look like a mix of human and animal tracks. This mark had disappeared after reaching the sea, meaning the creatures were sea-dwelling beings. After seeing this, Fred goes to the lighthouse where he requests to stay, but Grenner, a very arrogant man, refuses to let him in and asks him to leave. With no other option, Fred goes back to his cabin, locks every window and door, and places a lot of wood in front of the main door. While doing this, he finds a rifle with some bullets outside his house. Night falls, and soon after, the creatures return, attacking the house again. They break the glass on the windows, and that's when we get a glimpse of them, which look human-like. Fred starts shooting at them with his rifle, but their numbers are too many. Fred has no way to escape. He sets fire to the wood outside, causing the creatures to flee, but his cabin and belongings burn down as well. The next day, when Grenner goes to fetch water from the spring, Fred follows him. Fred takes aim at Grenner, but just then, a creature appears next to him and attacks Fred. This creature is actually an alien-like being with a large head and blue eyes. It stood like a human but resembled a frog. The creature attacks Fred, and just as Fred is about to shoot it, Grenner arrives and stops him. Fred then strikes a deal with Grenner. He won't kill the creature, but in exchange, Grenner will allow him to stay in the lighthouse, and Fred will share his food and supplies. Grenner agrees, and both go to the lighthouse, where the creature follows them. When Fred asks, Grenner reveals that it is a female creature, and she works for him. Grenner is seen feeding her water from his pond, and the creature is visibly scared of him because Grenner would beat her if she didn't obey him. It is then revealed that many years ago, no humans lived on this island, and the creatures that used to live in the sea had started coming onto the land. However, when Grenner arrived and learned about these creatures, he started killing them. In the process, he captured this female creature. Every night, she cries loudly, which causes all the sea creatures to come ashore and attack Grenner. Now, Grenner explains to Fred how the lighthouse works, but Fred, who had no prior knowledge of it, is in shock that such creatures exist on Earth, beings humans knew nothing about. He was unable to realize this truth. Grenner had been alone here for so many years, so Fred asks him, "Why didn't you go back?" Grenner replies, "Where would I go? To your war-torn world, where there's no place to stay, no peace? Instead, I'm living here peacefully, in control of my own fate." Hearing this, Fred says, "I'll leave on the first ship. I can't stay here." But Grenner mocks him, saying, "How will you leave? How will one person bring a ship here? The Navy's budget is already low, and there's a war going on. Hearing this, Fred becomes disappointed. That night, Grenner warns Fred that every night, a large number of creatures will come, and we need to kill them with rifles. As night falls, a female creature climbs up and starts crying loudly, as if calling out to its companions. Suddenly, they see a large number of creatures emerging from the sea, attacking them. The creatures start climbing all over the lighthouse. Grenner starts shooting them with his gun, but Fred faints at the sight. The next day, Grenner is very angry with Fred. That same night, the creatures attack again, and Grenner locks Fred in the lighthouse balcony to get revenge. He sends Fred alone to fight the creatures. However, Fred somehow manages to gather himself and starts killing the creatures. The next day, when Grenner opens the balcony door, he finds that Fred, in a fit of rage, had killed the creatures that attacked him. After some time, Fred and Grenner decide to stand guard every night and kill the creatures. Days pass, and Grenner keeps killing the female creature in the same way, which makes Fred feel bad. One day, Fred names the female creature Analysis and starts talking to her kindly, giving her food. Over time, the female creature develops affection for Fred and starts liking him. Fred and Grenner begin arguing frequently because Fred often stops Grenner from killing her. The attacks continue every night, and one night, when they are attacked, both of them find themselves trapped on the lighthouse. The creatures attack them, and there's no way out. They are forced to climb to the top of the lighthouse, feeling like their final moment has arrived. Because these creatures were relentless, but as soon as the sun started rising, all the creatures would automatically return to the sea, and the two of them would survive. After that day, for many days, the creatures stopped attacking them. One day, Fred saw a ship sailing in the distance, and he was very happy because he wanted to leave the island. He quickly ran to grab his fire gun, but Grenner stopped him from firing and began to beat him. The reason for this was that Grenner had gotten used to living here, and if outsiders arrived, they would learn about these creatures, and his privacy on the island would be lost. So Grenner began to beat Fred up, but then a female creature attacked Grenner, saving Fred. Fred also started developing feelings for Analysis. One day, while walking near the island, Fred saw Analysis at a secret spot in the sea, and he was drawn to her. They kissed, and after that, they made love. Later, Fred found a boat, and when he asked Grenner about it, Grenner revealed that many years ago a ship had come, but the island's creatures destroyed it and killed its crew. The lifeboat from that ship was still there. Upon hearing this, Fred suggested that the ship might have had dynamite, and with that, they could kill the creatures. Fred also had an old diving suit. They decided to act, and Fred wore the suit and went into the sea, where he found a box of dynamite and sent it up. At the same time, they saw the creatures who even had small babies, but they didn't harm Fred. Instead, the creatures started playing with him. Many days passed, and soon it was winter. Snow began to accumulate on the island. Now that they had dynamite, Fred and Grenner made a plan. They placed dynamite around the lighthouse to protect themselves. As evening came, no creatures attacked them. Then, Grenner forcibly started hurting Analysis, hoping her cries would lure the creatures out. Hearing her cries, all the creatures attacked them. Grenner was supposed to turn on the dynamite switch, but he couldn't. Fred ran and connected the wires, causing a huge explosion that killed all the creatures. But then Grenner triggered another explosion near the lighthouse, causing all three, Fred, Analysis, and Grenner, to lose consciousness. In the morning, Grenner starts killing the surviving injured creatures, and he seems quite happy seeing them in such a condition because he feels that this island now belongs to him. Meanwhile, Fred is shocked by all of this. That night, there is no attack, but some creatures begin mourning the loss of their fallen companions, with the surviving creatures crying. After this, there are no attacks for several nights. Finally, the creatures admit defeat. After this battle, there is no sign of Analysis. No one knows if she is alive or if she has gone back into the sea. Days continue to pass, and the two of them are left alone on the island. One day, Fred finds a diary with a picture of a woman on it, and the words love written 3 times behind it. The diary belongs to Grenner, who was once an officer on this island. He had been living here, troubled by his life, and when it was time for him to leave, he staged his own death so that his team would think he had died. Since then, he has been living here. Knowing this, Fred doesn't ask Grenner about it because he understands that there is no peace anywhere in the world, and everywhere there is conflict. People are depressed, and returning home wouldn't help. One day, Fred is at the shore and spots a creature's baby playing in the water. This means that some creatures are still alive. Seeing the baby, Grenner feels sympathy for the creatures. On the shore, Fred arranges stones into a design and places his boat in the middle, hoping it will attract the creatures to play. The next morning, Fred goes to the place where he arranged the stones. When he arrives, he sees all the creatures coming out looking scared. Finally, Fred spots Annalise there. The baby approaches Annalise, and Fred realizes that the baby is hers because he had been in love with her. Fred tries to talk to Annalise and lowers his gun to show that he means no harm. Just then, Grenner arrives, angry, and starts shooting. Grenner tells Annalise to come with him, but she refuses. In a fit of rage, Grenner climbs the lighthouse and shoots the baby, killing it, then attacks the other creatures. Seeing this, the creatures start fleeing. Fred, enraged by Grenner's actions, heads towards the lighthouse to stop him, but Grenner refuses to listen to him. After this, Fred goes to the lighthouse and starts attacking Grenner, but in this fight, Grenner proves to be stronger. Just as he is about to strike, Fred calls Grenner by his real name, which surprises Grenner. He drops his weapon and walks out. Outside, the creatures are waiting for him. As soon as Grenner steps out, the creatures attack him, and he surrenders, eventually being killed by them. In fact, Grenner considered the island his property and didn't want anyone to take over it. That's why he was asking Fred to leave. Months pass, and Fred remains alone on the island. A year goes by, and one day a ship arrives on the island for Fred's duty change. The crew members don't recognize Fred because he now looks like Grenner, with a long beard and no clothes, sleeping on the ground. They think he is Grenner and ask him where Fred is, so they can transfer him. But Fred lies, saying that Fred is not here. He says Fred got tired of the outside world and wanted to live on the island, so he stayed here with Annalise, and they were very happy together. Meanwhile, seeing the ship, Annalise goes into the sea to inform her companions that no one should come ashore. And with that, the movie ends. For more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and let us know how you liked the video by commenting.